The Trump administration, as you have probably seen or read, is facing a range of legal challenges over many of President Trump's executive orders and actions. Among them, a lawsuit filed by Quaker groups challenging the administration's decision to revoke a longstanding policy, goes back to the 1990s, that prohibited immigration officials from making arrests or investigations inside locations like schools, hospitals, and places of worship. Nora Merrill is the General Secretary for the New England Quakers, which is one of the plaintiffs in this lawsuit. Noah, thank you for being with us. I appreciate your time. Explain the point of this lawsuit and why your organization joined in it.
Well, from our beginnings in 1661, our faith community has known the importance of religious freedom, both the persecution of our spiritual ancestors and care for the persecution or the right to religious freedom of all people. And so when we heard about the rescinding of the guidelines that prevented the enforcement of immigration in congregations and in other sensitive areas like schools and hospitals, we were deeply concerned. We began to hear from our own members and from others about the potential impact and now, of course, the impact that this change is having.
And Noah, for those in the audience who might say, well, okay, I understand religious liberties for citizens of this country, but are you arguing that those apply universally to anyone who's in this country, regardless of their legal status?
Well, certainly we would believe as a spiritual matter that the right to freedom of conscience and worship is a universal right given by God to all people. But this lawsuit is about more than only people who might be undocumented. It's also about people who might be here legally or who, for whatever reason, might be mistaken for undocumented people. We've already seen that happening. We've seen people unwilling or afraid to come to our worship, to participate in our communities. And it's also about all of us. At the heart of Quaker faith, and I know that this is true for many other Christian groups and religious communities, is this commitment, this understanding that freedom of religion is not just a matter of private belief. There is no real freedom of religion if people are not allowed to gather and engage in a communal practice of worship. And so our claim is not simply on behalf of people who might be subject to enforcement activities or deportation, but on behalf of all people who are all of God's people, and the effect that it has on all of our communities, whether it's in the United States or across the globe. But particularly this case relates to freedom of religion in the United States.
And Noah, to the degree you're aware of it, how broad within the religious community in this country is this conversation about this atmosphere of anxiety you just described, and how many other groups, non-Quakers, should be involved in this particular cause of action?
I think it's very broad. Certainly since the lawsuit was filed and since it became public, we've heard from countless groups across the country, both Quakers expressing support and people of many faiths, our brothers and sisters in the Christian church, and people of all faiths expressing their distress, their concern, and their real experience of the impact this is having. Just earlier this week, I heard from a congregation that's a part of our region in New England, in the northeastern U.S., a church they have been partnering in relationship with for 25 years. The pastor of that church sent a heartbreaking email where he was describing that this is a church with roots in the Haitian community. 2/3 of their attenders did not participate in worship immediately after this guidance was rescinded. So we're not talking about something that's only theoretical. We're talking about something that's already happening now. And I'm sure that you've reported on things like the raid that happened in Atlanta, where a man was actually taken from a religious worship service going on, even though he had complied with all of his legal requirements, checking in with ICE, et cetera, and had no criminal background. So it's a real issue for so many of us around the country.
Noah, at the top, in one of your first answers, you mentioned the history of the Quakers. And if I remember the history of our country properly, in Pennsylvania, among the first concentrated abolitionist voices in this new land were Quakers. Do you see this legal action as a continuation of that not only religious point of view, but humanistic point of view?
We believe that any action we take should be an outgrowth of our spiritual life. And so while sometimes that may place us in positions of controversy, we're seeking to be faithful to God as we understand God. These are turbulent times, and we understand that there's something vital for all of us, whether people are faith or not, to be called back in the midst of all of this chaos to what is most important, to something more than ourselves, and to shared values of mercy and compassion, commitment to freedom of conscience and religion. When the world is coming apart, what could be more important than any of us having the opportunity to gather with those with whom we share our most deeply held beliefs, and to share in that worship and find our way in these times?
Noah Merrill, I appreciate the time very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us on.